I stared at my phone as the message appeared from an unknown number. 7 days of silence, and now this, "Do you miss me?" with a crying emoji. A week ago, that text would have sent me into a panic. I would have called, immediately apologized for things I did not do, begged her to come back. But today, sitting in my apartment that finally felt like mine again, I felt nothing except relief. My fingers moved calmly across the screen, A247, secure store on Maple Street. Then, I added the access code and hit send. 3 seconds later, I blocked her number. After that, I blocked her on every platform she could reach me. She wanted to teach me a lesson by disappearing for a week. She had no idea I used those 7 days to erase her from my life completely. Before I tell you how I got here, how I went from being her doormat to the man who packed up her entire life in 7 days, I need to know something. Drop a comment and tell me where you are watching from. Have you ever been in a relationship where someone used silence as a weapon? Hit that like button if you think blocking someone to manipulate them is toxic behavior. And subscribe, because this story gets worse before it gets better. But I promise you, the ending is worth it. Let me take you back to where this all started. I met Madison at a fitness center 2 years ago. She was on the treadmill next to mine, her ponytail swinging as she ran. When our eyes met, she smiled, and something in my chest shifted. We started talking after our workouts. Coffee dates turned into dinner dates, and within 6 months, I thought I had found the one. She was energetic, fun, made me feel like I mattered. When she suggested moving into my apartment downtown Portland, I said yes, without hesitation. I thought it was the natural next step for us. My place was a simple 2-bedroom apartment I had been renting for 3 years before Madison came into my life. The furniture was basic but comfortable. The walls, a neutral beige. Everything organized the way I liked it. That first week she moved in was sweet. We cooked meals together, laughed over shared bottles of wine, fell asleep, watching movies on the couch. I remember thinking this was what happiness felt like. But the shift happened faster than I expected. 2 months into living together, I went out for dinner with coworkers after a long project wrapped up. It was a group of 8 people, both men and women from the office. I texted Madison beforehand, told her I would be home late. She replied with a simple, "Okay, have fun," and I thought nothing of it. When I walked through the door at 9:30 that night, she was sitting on the couch with her arms crossed, her face like stone. I asked what was wrong. She stood up, her voice cold as ice. "You clearly do not care about me. You would rather spend time with them than come home to your girlfriend." I tried to explain it was a work thing, that I had told her about it, but she was not listening. Her eyes were distant, like she had already made up her mind about who I was and what I had done. The next morning, I woke up to silence. I reached for my phone and saw that my texts to her were not delivering. Confused, I tried calling. It went straight to a generic voicemail. My stomach dropped. I checked Instagram, Facebook, even WhatsApp. Blocked. On everything. She had blocked me on every single platform we used to communicate. The panic set in immediately. I did not understand what was happening. We lived in the same apartment, but she had left early, and now I could not reach her. I tried calling from my work phone during lunch. It rang once and went to voicemail. She had blocked that number too. For 2 days I sat in that apartment alone, feeling like I had done something terrible, even though I could not figure out what it was. I felt guilty, anxious, like I was being punished for a crime I did not commit. On the 3rd day, my phone buzzed. Her messages started coming through again. She had unblocked me. "I just needed space," she wrote. "Did you learn anything?" I felt a wave of relief so strong it made me dizzy. I apologized immediately, told her I would pay more attention, that I never meant to hurt her. She came home that evening, wrapped her arms around me and whispered, "I knew you would understand. I just had to teach you." That phrase should have been my first warning. But I was too grateful to have her back to see it for what it was. Over the next 3 months, the pattern repeated itself 5 more times. Each incident seemed smaller than the last, but the punishment grew longer. The second time, I forgot to pick up the specific brand of almond milk she liked from the grocery store. I came home with regular milk instead. She did not say anything that night, but the next morning, I was blocked again. 3 days of silence. When she finally unblocked me, I had to apologize and buy her flowers on top of getting the right milk. The third time, I liked a photo on Facebook. It was an old friend from high school, a woman I had not spoken to in years, posting about her new puppy. Madison saw it. Within an hour, I was blocked on everything. 4 days that time. When she came back, she told me I needed to unfriend every woman I had ever known if I wanted this relationship to work. I did it. I unfriended childhood friends, former classmates, even distant cousins. Anything to avoid that silence again. The fourth time, I did not respond to her text for 2 hours. I was in a meeting at work, my phone on silent in my bag. When I finally checked it, I had 17 missed messages from her, each one growing angrier. By the time I called her back, I was already blocked. 2 days of punishment. When she unblocked me, she demanded I share my location with her 24 hours a day. I agreed. The fifth time, I suggested we drive 3 hours to visit my mother for the weekend. Madison stared at me like I had insulted her. "You want to leave me here alone while you go see your family?" she asked. I explained she was invited, that my mom wanted to meet her. It did not matter. I was blocked for 5 days. When she returned, I had to cancel the trip and apologize for even suggesting it. Every single time she used the same phrase, "I am teaching you how to be a better boyfriend." And every single time I believed her. I started questioning myself constantly. Was I really that bad of a partner? Was I truly inconsiderate? My friends began to notice the change in me. Tyler, my best friend since college, pulled me aside one day. "Man, you seem different. Everything okay?" I brushed it off, made excuses for Madison, told him relationships required compromise. But deep down, I was exhausted. Madison began controlling more of my life. She went through my phone regularly, demanded all my passwords. She created rules: no hanging out with male friends. Unless she was there, no working past 6 in the evening, texting her every hour to check in. I followed every rule because the alternative was that crushing silence, that feeling of being abandoned in my own home. I felt like I was walking on eggshells every single day, careful not to trigger her anger. One evening, I was cooking dinner when she picked up my phone from the counter. I watched her scroll through my messages, her face growing darker. She found a text from Emily, a coworker, asking about a report due the next day. The message had come in at 8 in the evening. Madison held up my phone. "Why is she texting you at 8 at night?" Her voice was sharp, accusatory. I explained it was just work, that Emily was on the same project team. Madison did not care. She wanted to know why a woman felt comfortable texting me after hours. I had no good answer, because there was no right answer. Anything I said would be wrong. That night, as I lay in bed next to her rigid, silent form, I realized something that terrified me. I was not in a relationship anymore. I was in a hostage situation where the ransom was my peace of mind. But I did not know how to escape. I was afraid of the silence, afraid of losing her, afraid of being alone. So I stayed quiet and hoped tomorrow would be better. And then came the night that changed everything. It was a Friday evening. I was supposed to be home by 6, the time Madison expected me every single day. But at 5:30, my manager called me into her office. There was a presentation due Monday morning for a major client, and she needed my help finishing it. I texted Madison immediately, "Boss needs me to stay late. Presentation due Monday. We'll be home by 7:30. I am sorry." I watched the screen, waiting for her response. Nothing. No reply. No acknowledgement. I felt the familiar twist of anxiety in my stomach, but told myself it would be fine. I had given her advance notice. I had apologized. I was only going to be 90 minutes late. I worked as quickly as I could, helping my manager polish slides and format data. At 7:15, I packed up my things and rushed to my car. Traffic was light, and I made it home by 7:30 exactly, just like I had promised. When I walked through the door, Madison was sitting on the couch in the dark. The television was off, the lights were off, and she was just sitting there staring at the wall. I turned on the lamp, and she did not even blink. "Hey," I said softly. "I am sorry I am late. The presentation took longer than I thought." I pulled out my phone, ready to show her the email chain from my boss, proof that this was work-related. She finally looked at me, and her eyes were cold. "You always have an excuse," she said. "You never prioritize me. Ever." I felt frustration building in my chest. "I texted you. I told you exactly what happened. I even sent you the email from my boss earlier. You saw it." She stood up, grabbing her phone from the coffee table. "You know what? I am done. I need to teach you a real lesson this time." I watched as she opened her contacts, found my name, and blocked my number right in front of me. Then, she opened Instagram and blocked me there. Facebook, WhatsApp. One after another, she cut off every line of communication while I stood there frozen. "Madison, please. Can we just talk about this?" I asked, hating how desperate I sounded. She slung her purse over her shoulder. "No. You need time to think about what you did. Maybe a week without me will teach you to appreciate what you have." She walked past me, and I heard the door slam behind her. The sound echoed in the empty apartment. I stood in the entryway for several minutes, just staring at the closed door. Then, I walked to the couch and sat down in the same spot she had been sitting. The apartment was completely silent. No television, no music, just the hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen. I picked up my phone and tried to call her from my work number. It rang once and went to voicemail. She had already anticipated that move and blocked it too. I sat there in the darkness, and for the first time in months, I did not cry. I did not panic. I did not scramble to find a way to reach her. Instead, a strange calm settled over me. I looked around the apartment, really looked at it for the first time in a long time. Her makeup covered my bathroom counter, bottles and brushes and palettes taking up every inch of space. Her clothes filled 70% of my closet, pushing my own things into a tiny corner. Her shoes were piled by the entrance, at least 15 pairs scattered in a chaotic heap. Her decorative throw pillows covered my couch, the ones I found uncomfortable, but never said anything about. Her scented candles lined the shelves, filling the air with fragrances I did not particularly like. A thought hit me like a lightning bolt. This is my apartment. My name is on the lease. My furniture. My dishes. My life. And she was using it all against me, leaving whenever she wanted, because she knew I would always be here waiting like a loyal dog for her to come back. I felt something I had not felt in months: anger. Not at her, but at myself. How did I become this person? How did I let someone turn my own home into a prison? I opened my laptop and typed into the search bar, "Emotional manipulation blocking silent treatment." For the next 5 hours, I read articles about narcissistic behavior, emotional abuse, manipulation tactics. Every single article felt like it was describing my relationship with Madison. I learned terms like intermittent reinforcement and punishment through withdrawal and control through fear of abandonment. One quote stuck with me, written by a psychologist: "If someone uses their absence as a weapon, they have already left the relationship. They are just keeping you as a backup plan." Something inside me clicked. I did not want to do this anymore. But I also knew that if Madison unblocked me, if she walked back through that door and smiled and apologized, I would fall right back into the cycle. I was not strong enough to resist her in person. I needed to act now, while she had given me this space, while she thought I was sitting here devastated and desperate. A plan began forming in my mind. At 6 in the morning, I called Tyler. He answered on the third ring, his voice groggy with sleep. Damon, what is going on? It is 6 in the morning. I took a breath. Tyler, I need your help. And I need you to not ask questions until I am done explaining. There was a pause, and I could hear him sitting up. Talk to me, man. What happened? I told him everything in 10 minutes. The blocking, the manipulation, the fact that Madison had left and would probably be gone for about a week based on her past patterns. I am getting her out, I said. Today. I have maybe a week before she comes back, and I am not wasting a single day of it. Tyler was quiet for a long moment. Then he said, I will be there in 30 minutes. I will bring boxes. Relief flooded through me. Thank you. Next, I called Marcus, another close friend who owned a pickup truck. Marcus did not ask many questions either. When I told him what I needed, he just said, About damn time, bro. I am on my way. While I waited for them to arrive, I searched for storage units nearby. I found a facility called Secure Store, only 3 miles from my apartment. They had units available immediately. I booked one online unit, A247, 10 feet by 10 feet month-to-month lease. I paid with my credit card. The confirmation email arrived within minutes, stating I could pick up the keys and access code when I arrived. I stood in the middle of my apartment, looking at all of Madison's belongings scattered everywhere. For the first time in our entire relationship, I felt something other than anxiety or guilt. I felt relief. She wanted to teach me a lesson, and she had. She taught me that I deserve better than this. She gave me a week. I only needed 7 days to change my entire life. The doorbell rang. Tyler and Marcus stood there with armfuls of cardboard boxes and packing tape. We got to work. Saturday and Sunday were a blur of systematic packing. We started in the bedroom because that was where most of her things were concentrated. Tyler handled her clothes from the closet, while Marcus and I worked on her dresser drawers. 14 boxes for clothing alone. She had so many outfits, dresses, jeans, sweaters, workout clothes. Every single item went into a box carefully folded. We labeled each box with a black marker, clothes 1, clothes 2, and so on. Her shoes filled 4 boxes. I counted as we packed them 43 pairs total. Sneakers, heels, boots, sandals, flats. Some of them still had tags on them, never worn. Marcus shook his head as he taped up the 4th shoebox. How does one person need this many shoes? He muttered. I did not have an answer. Her jewelry and accessories took 2 boxes. Necklaces, bracelets, earrings, scarves, belts, hair accessories. I was careful with these, wrapping the more delicate pieces in newspaper so nothing would break. Her makeup and skincare products filled 3 boxes. We cleared the entire bathroom counter, and suddenly I could see the white marble surface again for the first time in months. Tyler held up one box, filled with tiny bottles and jars. Is this all face stuff? He asked, amazed. I nodded. We moved to the living room. Madison had bought several decorative items over the months: vases, picture frames with photos of us, small sculptures, throw blankets, those uncomfortable pillows. 3 boxes for all of it. Her books and magazines, the ones she insisted on displaying on my bookshelf, even though she never read them, filled 2 more boxes. She had 5 potted plants around the apartment, large ferns and succulents that she claimed made the space feel alive. We wrapped each pot carefully in bubble wrap and packed them into a box together. In the kitchen, we boxed up her special dishes, the ones she bought, because she said my plain white plates were too boring. Her pots and pans, her fancy coffee maker, her organic snacks, and supplements from the pantry. 2 more boxes. Every time I packed something, I felt lighter. Tyler noticed. Dude, she basically took over your whole place. This is your apartment. Marcus agreed. How did you live like this? There is barely any trace of you here. I looked around at the half-empty rooms, boxes stacked everywhere. I do not know. I admitted. I guess I stopped noticing when I stopped mattering. We worked until nearly midnight on Saturday, then started again at 8 on Sunday morning. By Sunday afternoon, we had 35 boxes total, all labeled, all taped shut, all stacked in the living room. Marcus backed his truck up to the building, and we spent 2 hours loading everything. The boxes filled the entire truck bed, and we had to secure them with bungee cords to make sure nothing shifted during the drive. Sunday evening, exhausted and sweaty, the three of us stood in my apartment. It looked bare, but clean. Only my things remained: my simple furniture, my books, my dishes. It looked like it had before Madison moved in, except emptier. Tyler clapped me on the shoulder. "You good man?" I nodded. "Yeah, I actually am." Monday morning, I called in sick to work. I needed this day. The three of us drove to Secure Store and met with the facility manager, a middle-aged woman named Carol, who handed me the keys to Unit A247 and explained the access code system. We unloaded all 35 boxes into the storage unit, stacking them neatly against the walls. I took photos of each box on my phone, creating a record of everything we had stored. The unit was cold, lit by harsh fluorescent lights, and smelled like concrete and metal. When the last box was in place, I stood in the doorway and looked at everything Madison owned, all crammed into this 10 by 10 space. Tyler put his hand on my shoulder. "You okay?" I surprised myself by answering honestly. "Yeah, I really am." We locked the unit, and I slipped the keys into my wallet. Marcus stretched his back sore from all the lifting. "So what now?" he asked. I looked at the closed unit door at the number A247 printed on it. "Now we wait." Over the next 3 days, Tuesday through Thursday, I reclaimed my apartment. I rearranged everything to suit my taste, not hers. In the bathroom, I organized my toiletries neatly on the counter, and it felt incredible to have space again. In the closet, I spread out my clothes, giving each item room to breathe, instead of cramming everything into one corner. I had forgotten I owned some of these shirts. In the living room, I removed all her decorations and set things up the way I had always wanted: minimalist, simple, clean lines. I rearranged the furniture, angling the couch toward the window instead of the television. I liked being able to see outside. In the bedroom, I bought new sheets, dark blue, instead of the floral pattern she had insisted on. I moved the bed to a different wall, and suddenly the room felt bigger. Each small change made it easier to breathe. On Wednesday afternoon, I went to a plant nursery and bought a single snake plant for the living room. It was simple, required little maintenance, and I actually liked it. I hung photos of my family back on the walls, the ones Madison had made me take down, because they did not match the aesthetic. Seeing my mother's face smiling at me from a frame made me realize how much I had given up. During those 3 days, my phone stayed silent. Madison had not unblocked me yet, and for the first time in our relationship, I was not panicking about it. I slept better than I had in months. I ate meals when I was hungry, instead of waiting for her approval. I even met up with friends I had not seen in half a year, guys from my gym who had stopped inviting me to things because I always said no. Tyler came over on Thursday night with pizza, and we watched a basketball game. Halfway through, he looked at me. "You seem lighter," he said. I thought about it. I feel like I can breathe again. Friday arrived exactly 1 week after Madison had blocked me and walked out. I knew it was coming. Based on every previous pattern, she would unblock me any moment now. I prepared myself mentally. I wrote notes in my phone, reminders to myself: remember why you did this. Remember how you felt before. Remember you deserve peace. I kept the storage unit keys in my wallet and the access code A247 saved in my Notes app. That evening, I sat on my couch in the apartment that was truly mine again. I felt calm. I knew she would reach out soon. She always did right when she thought I had suffered enough. And when she did, I would be ready. I went to bed early, sleeping peacefully, knowing that tomorrow or the next day, she would make contact. And for the first time, I was not afraid of it. Sunday morning at 9:47, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. I picked it up and saw a message from an unknown number. She had unblocked me, but I had not saved her contact anymore. The message read, "Do you miss me?" with a crying emoji. I stared at that message for a full minute. 6 months ago, 3 months ago, even 2 weeks ago, I would have immediately called her, apologized, begged her to come home. But sitting there in my quiet apartment, I felt absolutely nothing. Not anger, not sadness, not longing, just empty. And it was a good kind of empty. The empty that comes with freedom. 5 minutes passed. Another message came through. "I think we should talk. I am ready to come home now." The word home made me flinch. This was never her home. It was my apartment that she had taken over, my space that she had used to control me. I took a deep breath, my fingers steady, as I typed my response, A247, secure store on Maple Street. Code is your birthday. Everything is there. I hit send. 3 seconds later, I blocked her number. Then I blocked her on Instagram, Facebook, and WhatsApp. Every single platform. Done. 30 minutes later, my doorbell started ringing. Not a polite single ring, but frantic, repeated buzzing. I walked to the door and looked through the peephole. Madison stood there, her face a mixture of fury and confusion. She started pounding on the door. "Damon, open this door right now. What the hell is going on?" I did not move. She banged harder. "My stuff is in a storage unit. Are you serious right now? We need to talk. You cannot just block me. That is my thing." I walked back to the couch, put on my headphones, and turned on music. I did not feel guilty. I did not feel anxious. I felt nothing but relief. For 15 minutes, she continued knocking and shouting. Then silence. I checked the peephole again. She was gone. I checked my phone. There were attempts to call from different numbers, unknown contacts trying to reach me. I blocked each one without hesitation. Voicemails appeared. I deleted them without listening. Over the next few days, text messages came from random numbers. I blocked them all without reading a single word. She tried reaching me through Tyler. He told her firmly, "He is done, Madison. Leave him alone." She tried Marcus next. He blocked her immediately. After about a week of this, the attempt stopped. Complete silence. 2 weeks later, I heard through a mutual acquaintance that Madison had emptied the storage unit and moved in with some guy she had been seeing. I felt a wave of relief, so pure, it almost made me laugh. She had moved on that quickly, which told me everything I needed to know. I had never really mattered to her. I was just someone she could control, someone who would always be waiting when she decided to come back. The first month after cutting her off completely, I started therapy. My therapist, a kind woman named Dr. Harrison, helped me understand what I had been through. She used terms like emotional abuse and trauma bonding. She explained that the blocking and unblocking was a form of intermittent reinforcement, the same psychological principle that makes gambling addictive. You never know when the reward is coming, so you keep hoping, keep waiting, keep trying. She helped me see that I was not weak or stupid. I had been manipulated by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. I reconnected with my family. My mother cried when I called her to apologize for being distant. "I am so glad you are back, honey. We missed you so much," she said. I had not realized how much Madison had isolated me from my support system until I started rebuilding those connections. Friends I had pushed away welcomed me back without judgment. They had seen what was happening, even when I could not. 3 months after sending that storage code, I got a promotion at work. My manager told me I had been more focused, more present, more creative in recent months. I realized that the constant anxiety of wondering if Madison would block me had been draining my energy in every area of my life. Without that weight, I could actually think clearly. I started picking up old hobbies. I went hiking on weekends, something Madison used to call a waste of time. I bought a camera and started taking photos again, a passion I had abandoned because she said it was boring. I painted my apartment walls a warm gray color that I loved. I bought a new couch, comfortable and stylish, exactly what I wanted. Every change felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. I started dating casually, nothing serious, just coffee dates and dinners with different people. I was not rushing into anything. I was learning to enjoy my own company, to be comfortable being alone. And then, 6 months after everything happened, I met Emma at a bookstore. She was reaching for the same novel I was, and we both laughed. We started talking, and I felt something I had not felt in years. Ease. Conversation with her was natural, comfortable. There were no games, no tests, no punishments. Our first few dates were simple. Coffee walks in the park, a movie. Emma was kind and patient. When we disagreed about something, we talked about it like adults. We listened to each other. We compromised. There was no yelling, no silent treatment, no blocking. It was revolutionary. At first, I was cautious, waiting for the other shoe to drop, for her to suddenly reveal herself as another Madison. But therapy had taught me how to recognize red flags, and Emma showed none of them. She was consistent, honest, communicative. This was what a healthy relationship felt like. 1 year after I sent that storage unit code to Madison, I sat in a coffee shop with my journal. Therapy had taught me the value of reflection, of writing down my thoughts. I thought about how far I had come, about the journey from being her doormat to being a man who valued himself. I learned that love should never feel like fear. Real partners communicate when they are upset. They do not punish you with silence. They do not use their absence as a weapon. Blocking someone is not teaching them a lesson. It is control. It is emotional abuse disguised as tough love. If someone weaponizes their absence, they have already checked out of the relationship. They are just keeping you as a backup option, someone to return to when they get bored or need attention. I learned that I was so afraid of being alone that I accepted being lonely in a relationship. My apartment, my space, my peace. I gave it all away, trying to keep someone who never valued it. The moment I chose myself over her approval, everything changed. I stopped shrinking to fit into her world and started building my own. Healing was not linear. Some days I missed her, or rather, I missed who I thought she was at the beginning, before I saw the reality of who she truly was. But I never missed the anxiety. I never missed walking on eggshells. I never missed the constant fear of saying or doing the wrong thing. Being alone was infinitely better than being with someone who made me feel alone. Madison wanted to teach me a lesson by blocking me, and she did. Just not the lesson she intended. She taught me that I am stronger than I thought, that I deserve respect and kindness and open communication. That silence can be a gift if you use it the right way. She gave me 7 days to think about what I had done wrong. I used those 7 days to give myself the rest of my life back, and I never looked back. If someone is using silence to control you, maybe it is time to make that silence permanent. On your terms. You deserve more than breadcrumbs of affection between punishments. You deserve more than someone who treats your love like a weapon they can aim at you whenever they feel like it. You deserve peace. So let me ask you something. Have you ever been in a relationship like this? Have you ever felt like you were constantly walking on eggshells, waiting for the next punishment? Drop a comment below and share your story. You are not alone, and sometimes just saying it out loud helps. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button. Subscribe to this channel because I share more real stories about healing, growth, and choosing yourself. And please, share this video with someone who might need to hear it. Someone who is sitting in their apartment right now, wondering if they are the problem, wondering if they are being too sensitive. They need to know the truth. Thank you for listening to my story. I hope it helps you in some way, whether you are going through something similar right now, or you have been through it in the past. Remember, you are worth more than how someone treats you in their worst moments. You deserve consistency, honesty, and love that does not come with conditions. Take care of yourself, and I will see you in the next one.